What's up guys, we are at the Proton HQ in Tanjung Malim where we will be checking out, finally, the new Proton X50 at the Complex Sukan Proton. Very exciting stuff, in fact so exciting I couldn't sleep last night. No, actually I slept like a baby because the wait is finally over. Now, let's go check it out. So we're now in a holding room where all the other automotive media is at. Beyond that glass wall is the new Proton X50, but we're not allowed to do any filming just yet. It is that secretive. Check it out. Everyone's waiting to get into the hall.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the new Proton SUV, right before our eyes.
So, now that the rollout ceremony is officially over, let's go spend some time with the X50 since everyone is on a factory tour. Somehow I've managed to weasel my way out of it. Now we get to spend some quiet time with Malaysia's most highly anticipated crossover. So as you can tell from the screen here, the X50 will be available in 6 different colors. You have the Snow White, Armour Silver, Jet Grey, Ocean Blue, Citric Orange and Passion Red. These are the specs. There will be 4 variants available. Let's start with the base model. You get all these equipment here, and then this will be the extra add-ons in the executive variant. And then you have the premium variant, and then the TGDI flagship variant, which will come with a bit more power and a more advanced driver assistance system. So we were told during the Q&A session that the X50 actually comes with level 2 autonomous driving capabilities as opposed to the X70, which only comes with level 1. So this is the X50 in Snow White, and at first glance, first impressions, very positive. Especially this front end design, I think it's a very hard look to dislike, especially with all the sharp edges, the curves, the swoops. LED headlamps standard across the board on all 4 variants. The base model does not come with the automatic function. The rest of the 3 variants, the executive, the premium and the flagship model, will come with automatic headlamps, and the same goes to the front fog lamps. Only the standard model does not come with front fog lamps. As for the other equipment, you have 17-inch alloy wheels for the base model and the executive variant, while the premium and flagship variant will come with larger 18-inch wheels. These are 215/55 R18 tires. So as you can tell here, the infinite weave grille design has been carried forward from the X70, although this has been slightly reworked, slightly redesigned, sporting the new Proton emblem as well. What's even cooler is that it also comes with carbon fiber finishing on the lower front lip. I think this adds to the sporty youthfulness of the car, don't you think? Moving on to the side, I think it has a really sporty silhouette, much like most crossovers today. However, this being a new design, I think it should really stand out amongst its competitors like the HR-V, the CHR, the CX-3, maybe even the new Hyundai Kona and the Kia Seltos, which will be launched soon. Now, Proton's CEO said that although logically speaking this appears as a B-segment vehicle, they are actually aiming to compete with vehicles of other segments. Really looking forward to see how that will turn out. That's a very sporty looking spoiler with air ducts on each side. And then you have somewhat of a floating roof effect, although I think to achieve a more apparent floating roof effect, maybe you might want to have the roof in white. I'm not sure. It seems like X70 owners at the moment are going for black roofs. So I guess that's entirely up to you guys when you get the car. I'm sure most of you guys know that this car is primarily adopted from the Geely Binyu that they have in China. However, Proton says that aside from the infinite weave grille, there are over 400 components incorporated by Proton themselves. So this is how the key of the X50 looks like. I actually really like it. It looks quite futuristic, finishing looks very nice. These are all the buttons for various functions, obviously to lock, to open the boot, to unlock, and this one actually allows you to remote start the car. How cool is that?
It's locked.
What's even more impressive is the fact that the Proton Link mobile app has now been updated to allow you to control functions like the air conditioning, to start the car, even from afar, so long as both the car and you are connected. Right, now that I got the keys to it, let's show you what's underneath the hood. Although, I have to tell you, there won't be much to see actually. It looks very much like the X70 where everything is covered. So again, you have a 1.5 litre 3-cylinder turbocharged engine with two different outputs. One makes 150 horsepower and that's for the lower three variants, while the flagship model comes with 177 horsepower. That one will come with 255 Newton meters of torque as well. The 1.5 litre engine is paired to a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. It is the exact same transmission that is used in the current CKD X70, although Proton says that it has been recalibrated slightly because of the different engine size and also calibrated to suit the Malaysian driving style. Now that that's over, let's go check out the interior. I think you'd actually find it highly attractive. So if you've seen my Nissan video, I said after driving that car that it would be a good time to be a Nissan salesman. Now that I look at the X50, I think at the same time, it'll also be a good time to be a Proton salesman, because just look at the car. I think it will sell itself. If all the variants are below 100,000, I don't think these X50s will have any problem finding their way out of the showroom. Everything feels of quality actually. This aluminium finishing here, this bar here that you get, just like in the X70. These seats, highly supportive seats, very sporty looking as well. These, we were told by the designer, the chief designer of this X50, is inspired by the jet engines on a plane. I can't really tell the resemblance. Let me know what you think about this. Now, I'm sure you guys would want to have a look at how this looks like when it lights up. So, let me see. How about that? Very cool. You get your temperature gauge here, the speedometer on the left, your RPM meter on the right, your fuel gauge. These are the parameters that you can check out on the X50 through this button here. But no pedal shifters though. This is how the interface looks like on the infotainment display of the X50. I'm sure some of y'all can tell that the design is a little more different. It looks a lot more fresh, a lot more updated. But what I really like though is how responsive and smooth everything is. A couple of things to note about this new infotainment system. So obviously, this being the flagship model, it comes with the larger 10.25-inch display. You will similarly get this in the premium variant as well. However, in the standard and executive variant, you get a smaller 6-inch display. That being said, the processing power, all the electronics in the back end of this system are all exactly the same. You get the GKUI 19 operating system, But in the premium and flagship variants, the infotainment display comes with better 4G connectivity. And then below that, you have the infinite weave design again, similarly with the speaker covers. And then you have your controls here for the volume, turn it on, turn it off. Again, I really like this polished aluminium finishing here, both on the dashboard and on the center console. It just gives the car a much more expensive vibe than it actually is. On the topic of a quality finish, check out these sort of grooves on the aircon control knobs. They just feel so expensive. Pretty sure you can't feel it, but when you do, you'd understand what I'm saying. Buttons feel alright to press on, not too bad. So this is how the display looks like. That's for the temperature. That's for the fan speed. AC. Very responsive. And then at the bottom here, you just have a whole list of different buttons. Let's check out the 360-degree view camera. There we go. I'm not sure if you can see it from the camera, but from what I'm looking at, if you ask me, honestly, the display can be a lot sharper. Let's go through the different angles. Wow. So you have hill descent control, you have your 360-degree view camera, self-parking features. That will be very helpful for Malaysians, although I always believe this feature takes a lot longer for the car to park you than for you to park the car. So brush up on your parking skills, Malaysians. There's a slot here to put your phone. Very convenient, very accessible. And that's pretty much the front. Let's go check out the back. Again, you can see the quality of the finishing here on the buttons. It just looks very premium. It's very hard to not think of that about the X50. So you have powered seats, but this is only for the driver, even in this premium and flagship model. As for the back, let's see. The same finishing is extended to all the controls at the back. Now, as for rear legroom, I'm sure you can tell, me being 180 centimeters tall, the X50 seems to accommodate me quite well. There's plenty of legroom, more than enough knee room, and headroom is more than sufficient. But what's really cool about being back here is this. A panoramic sunroof. My goodness. That looks very cool. Right, now let's close the blinds. Wow. And then complete privacy. As for the other creature comforts back here, you get an armrest with 2 cup holders, 2 USB charging ports at the back here, and rear aircon vents. Oh, the other thing, because this car is front wheel drive, you don't get the hump in the middle here that sort of bulges out, making it very uncomfortable for the person on the middle seat. This one is practically flat. So check this out. So much room even if you're the center passenger. Now let's go check out the boot. Seems fairly accessible. Perhaps a 500 milliliter bottle, a 1 liter bottle may be pushing it a little. Again, infinite weave on the speaker covers. To the back, let's go check out how much boot space this car actually offers. Not the largest boot out there, admittedly, but I can't imagine you finding this space insufficient on your short getaways. With the tonneau cover down, you get about this much of space. With it removed, obviously you can fit a lot more than that. At the bottom here, you have, okay, some storage spaces for your loose items and a space saver spare wheel. This is how the rear end looks like, with the tail lights illuminated. This will probably drive everyone crazy. The fact that it has quad tailpipes, and not just that, diffusers as well, with carbon fiber finishing. It's hard to believe that this is actually a Proton. I mean, just look at that. It may not be the most striking design, especially the rear end, which looks slightly more underwhelming when you compare it with how the front end looks like. But overall, if you ask me, I think it's a very hard design to dislike. It's a design that everyone can jump on board with, but very few will actually take a look and say, nah, I don't like how it looks. There'll be very few of those. I am very sure of that. This is how the headlamps look like with the LED daytime running lights on. From everything that I've touched, everything that I've held, everything that I've looked at, everything gives me the impression of a very premium vehicle. From the leather seat, to the design of the seats, to how the door feels when it opens, to the interface of the infotainment display, the materials used, the thought, the design that has gone onto it. It's actually very impressive for what it will be potentially priced, because pricing has yet to be announced, but I reckon you don't have to wait any longer now. So, which variant will take your fancy? Let us know in the comment section, and maybe let us know how much you'd actually pay for it.